ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यंकरवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ओम शांति शांति शांति। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंश ऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहितः प्रज्ञानघनः प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम शांति शांति शांति। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शंकरं लोकशंकरं शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ओम mantra number 2, we'll just chant. यदर्चिमद् यद् अणुभ्यो अणुच यदर्चिमद् यद् अणुभ्यो अणुच यस्मिन् लोका निहिता लोकिनश्च यस्मिन् लोका निहिता लोकिनश्च तदेतदक्षरं ब्रह्म स प्राणः तदेतदक्षरं ब्रह्म स प्राणः तदुवाङ्मनः तदुवाङ्मनः तदेतत्सत्यं तदेतत्सत्यं तदमृतं तदमृतं तद्वेद्धव्यं तद्वेद्धव्यं सौम्य विद्धि सौम्य विद्धि। Yesterday, last lecture, we saw this, all these shabdas, and we have seen in detail. I have spent 2 lectures on that. The last part of the mantra is Tadetat Satyam Tad Amrutam. Satya means that which cannot be negated, that which is, okay, and being is, whatever is that tattva. Therefore it is all pervasive, and it is beyond time. And tad amrutam, and that is amrutam, free from the birth, free from death. Or amrutam means anand, that is anand. So satyam and amrutam words reveal that Brahman is anandam Anantam Avinashi. Now, that being a case, where is it? How to gain it? Do I have to do asana pranayama? Or do I have to do meditation and know? No. He says, Tad Vedavyam. Vedavyam means that is to be hit, it is to be pierced, some one meaning. But here, the contextual meaning is Tad Vedavyam, that should be known. It should be understood. And it says Tad Vidhi, may you know. It should be known, and teacher says, may you understand it. Now, if that Brahman is to be gained, and the gaining or prapti of Brahman is by knowledge, what does it mean? Brahman is Nitya Prapta. In other words, I am Brahman. You have to know that I am Brahman. Which Brahman? Yad Archimat, Yad Anubhyo Anu, Yasmin Loka Nihita Lokinasya. I am the one. All these worlds, different lokas, Sapta Loka above, Sapta down, and all the beings, all the Lokinasya, all those worlds and their indwellers in different worlds are Nihitaha, means they abide in me. Look at this is Atma. Don't think Satchidanand is Atma and Sakshi Atma, they keep talking. You have to see it properly. Who am I? This Satchidananda is Nihita Yasmin Lokaha Lokinasya. All the worlds and all their indwellers have their being in whom? That means I am the one who is the very substratum of all the lokas and all the lokinas. There is nothing that can exist apart from me. I give them existence. Whatever is because of me. And whereas this fellow thinks I am because of something. And therefore they go on for power, they go on for money, they go out for relationship, because then only I exist. No. Whatever was, whatever is, and whatever will be, it will be because of me. That is the knowledge. Tad Vedavyam Tad Vidhi. And he says, Tadetat Satyam Tadamrutam. Atma is Satchidananda, and that Atma is Anantam. I am infinite. No limitations in terms of time, in terms of place, and in terms of objectivity. All that is there is me, and I have no condition. Okay. Now, here next two mantras talk about some upasana and particularly Omkara. Just let us chant that mantra, the third mantra. Dhanurgruhitva Aupanishadam Mahastram. Dhanurgruhitva Aupanishadam Mahastram. Sharam Hyupasa Nishitam Sandhayita. Sharam Hyupasa Nishitam Sandhayita. Ayamya tadbhavagatena chetasa. Ayamya tadbhavagatena chetasa. Laksham tadevaksharam saumya viddhi. Laksham tadevaksharam saumya viddhi. Tadeva aksharam lakshyam. That aksharam Brahma, That Brahman which I have been talking all along, that is Lakshyam. That is targeted. Okay. That Brahman which is targeted, may you strike with thee. May you strike that Brahman that is targeted. Striking is a upasana. Some imagery is given. It is in the sense of knowledge. What is this? Dhanur gruhitva Aupanishadam Mahastra. And Saumya, that's an address to the student. Tadeva Aksharam Saumya Vidhi, O beloved one, O pleased one, O pleasing one. What? You have a bow. Which bow? Mahastram, big bow or great bow. Which bow? Aupanishadam. This is typical Sanskrit prayoga called as Taddita, enhancing the meaning of a noun. Aupanishadam. Upanishatsu pratipaditam. That which is revealed in Upanishad. So there is a bow that is revealed in Upanishadam. And when you are talking bow, what is arrow? Sharam means arrow. He upasa nishitam sandhayita. May you fix that arrow of mind. What kind of mind? He says nishitam, that which is sharpened by nididhyasanam, by upasana, or you can say loosely by meditation. So you hold a bow which is revealed. Here the bow is Omkara. Okay. You hold the bow of Omkara that is revealed in Upanishadam, a big bow of Omkara that is revealed in Upanishad, and put the arrow on it. Which arrow? That is your mind. And what kind of mind? That which is sharpened. And with the sharpened arrow of your mind, with the bow of Omkara revealed in Upanishad, ayamya tadbhavagatena chetasa. Tadbhavagatena chetasa. By a mind which is very well committed to the target. And he says, ayamya, you pull the string. The bow can be released, and it will travel the distance and the velocity. All depends upon the extent to which you pull the string of a bow. And that decides the arrow's trajectory, force, velocity, everything. So he says, pull the string of this bow called Omkara. How pulling the string of the bow? By pulling the string of the bow, which is, the pulling is commitment of the mind. And the arrow is sharpened mind, and Omkara is a bow, and you hit the target called Aksharam Brahma. Okay, the bullseye they call it. The bullseye is Aksharam Brahman, and just like an archer, focus is completely on it. And with the eye, one eye may be closed or whatever, he focuses, takes the target and pulls the string and then releases. So pulling the string and releasing is a commitment of the mind. And the arrow itself is a mind which is sharpened by upasanas. And the bow is Omkara. And the target is Aksharam Brahma. Now, before I explain this mantra, I would like to talk something about Omkara. Okay. We have been, as an Indian, we just grow up, or even a foreigner. Whenever you meet a Swami or go to ashram, there is Omkara always going on. Or mantra japa, when you do, there is Omkara involved, common thing that is there. But then rarely people know what is Om. I find that. Maybe I may be wrong, but people don't know it. And people have made dhun also. Om, 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 Om. Like that they do bhajan of Omkara. Some people do mala of Omkara, etc. It's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but that is ultimately what is it? So, what is it that is Omkara? Om. It can be looked, we can look at it in threefold way. Okay, let's see what. The word, this Omkara, can be derived from the root ava, nether stroke, vakara. Gujarati में कहना खोड़ो वा, ava, ava rakshane, protection. Okay, ava means blessings. Om means that which protects, that which blesses, that is Ishvara. So grammatically, Omkara means Ishvara. One. Now you can, so you can transcend the word and think of the Lord, the protector, the one who blesses. There is another way also that you can derive ava plus grammar, ava plus man, etc. Kartari. So in the sense of karta, Om means one who creates, one who protects, one who blesses. That is Ishvara. Omkara is Ishvara. Now, phonetically, also, you just look at it phonetically. It implies Ishvara. How? See that. Nama and Nami. Nama means a word, the name. And Nami means that which is revealed by the name. That which is revealed by word. In other words, the word and the object are inseparable in a sense. How? When I utter a noun, when I say something, it's just a sound, correct? Name is a sound. But corresponding object will certainly come to your mind. You cannot remain without that object. When I say car, car will come to you. Object car. You are just listening phonetics. Car, that's word, letters, car. In English, C-A-R, car. But moment I say car, object car will be revealed in your mind. Can you do that? When I say car, and you just hear the sound car, nothing comes to your mind. It never happens. Unless I say some meaningless sound, like Puja Swamiji used to say, Gagabugai. When you say Gagabugai, nothing comes here, Gagabugai. Well, for us, something, for me and some of you know, will certainly come. When anybody says Gagabugai, you will remember Swamiji, his face and his expression. He used to continue further. You ask him, sir, then he himself he said, what is this Gagabugai? Oh, Gagabugai is Lodai. What is the Lodai? Lodai is Tododai. Lodai is Tododai. It is all meaningless sound. But if I say something, America, the whole country comes to you. Bharat, country comes to you. Mother, person comes to you, your mind. They are as though inseparable. Name and the corresponding object. Therefore, Kalidasa, in his famous Raghuvamsha, the very Mangalacharanam, he says, Vagarthau viva sampruktau, Vagarthah pratipattaye, Jagatah pitarau vande, Parvati Parameshwar. Jagatah pitarau. The parents of these worlds, vande, I do namaskara, I do pranam. Who are they? Parvati Parameshwara. Parameshwara is Shiva. I do my namaskaras to Bhagavati and Shiva, who are the parents of the world. How are they? Vagarthau iva samprukta. That Shiva and Parvati are united. Shiva and Parvati is one, that Ardhanarishwara. How they are united? How they are non-separate? Like Vak arthau iva. Vak means the word and its meaning. When I say mobile, immediately phone comes to your mind. Just when I say watch, wristwatch, some watch comes to your mind. Anything I say, some corresponding objects comes. It is inseparable. Unless if you happen to not to know the language, that means you don't know the word also. Therefore, I didn't say sound. I say word and its meaning are inseparable. So also Parvati and Shiva, Bhagavan Shankar, who are the parents of this world, are inseparable. I bow down. I offer my salutations. For what? Vagarthau pratipatte, to know the Shastra, for Gnana, etc. Similarly, here coming back to this phonetics. Now, Ishvara is all pervasive. Ishvara is Utpatti Karanam, Laya Karanam. He is a creator as well as sustainer and dissolution. Who does it? Now, we have to have one word that implies all pervasiveness, that implies that creativeness, that implies the one who dissolves. And that one word is Om. It's a sound symbol. How the Om, the sound Om, consists of 3 letters. A, U, Ma. Okay. It consists of 3 letters. A, U, and Ma. When you say A, U, Ma, these 3 letters, look at this. A is most natural, that expression, effortless, most natural expression sound. You try to create a sound and open the mouth, it is it becomes a. Though there may not be corresponding alphabet in a given language, but they chant a. A becomes no, like in English. You see, when American pronunciation are different than Indians, there is a reason. Because we have 13 vowels. And in each vowel, Laghu Dirgha, no? Raswa Dirgha. A, I, U, Ru, Ru, Lru, then A, O, I, O. We have 13. In English has only 5. And that is only A. So they are grown up. When there is A, they will chant A, you know. So they can't know, okay, that is A or A or A. When you have A, we will write E or something else, you know. Ishan, when you say it, we will write either IASHN or you write, Americans will write Ishan, ESHN. And then A is only A, you know. Like when you say Ramesh, so R-A-M-E, Rame, E also is a E also is E. E also is E. The first is English. Okay. A, E, I, O, U. The E is A, E is E, Raswai, and E is Dirghai. But A is common. And the last words, letter, last sound with a closed mouth is what? Ma. A and Ma. Therefore, just to explain you, baby first learns to utter Ma, Ma, Amma. It is natural. And we Indians have this because A and Ma is natural. So then he will learn Ma, Ma. And they say, look at this. Mom, this baby is my baby. He learned mom, ma first, then learned mama, then kaka. It's a different kaka, parental. I mean, paternal. It's little later. Then actually for father, the word is Bapu. Bapuji, Pitaji. So boy is letter. So A and Ma. Now, these all other vowels are nothing but variation of A. Look at this. Naturally, I open A. Then the sound goes to Talu, palate. A becomes what? A, E, A, E. When I close the lip, little round, A, E, U, A, O. All are variations of Akara, including Ukara. So when you say Om, between A and Ma, A includes, not includes, but it reflects all the vowels, but it symbolizes all the vowels, and Makara symbolizes all the consonants. So when you say O, as though any noun or any word or any adjective is nothing but what? Consonants and vowel, combinations of consonants and vowel. Akara symbolizes all vowels. Makara symbolizes all consonants. And Ukara is a variation like Yaralavasha, etc. That means Om word includes all the words. The single syllable word Om includes all the words, all the nouns. And when you say Om, that means all the nouns are included. All the words are included. And just now we said, Nama and Nami are non-separate. The noun and corresponding word is non-separate. So very Omkara indicates the Vishwarupa, all pervasiveness of Ishvara. Okay. So Omkara is sound syllable indicating Ishvara. And Shastra does this Abhidhana, not Abhidhana, but does Aropa. It includes the transcendental nature of Ishvara also. And it expresses, as they call it, these three matras. A, U, Ma symbolizes three avasthas. These three matras symbolizes three shariras, anything. Or these three matras indicate three expression of Ishvara. That Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat, or three expressions of Jivatma, etc. So Shastra does this Adhyaropa. So when we say everything has come from Omkara, there are Vakyas in Upanishad, it implies that Omkara is a symbol of Ishvara, phonetically also, grammatically also, and from the standpoint of Shastra as well. There are certain adhyaropas given by Shastras that is there in our psyche naturally. Like even we on a particular 13th day of this last month of the year, what we call a Trayodashi, Dhanatrayodashi, or in simple Gujarati we say Dhanteras, 2 days before Diwali, we do Lakshmi Pujan. So any coin, or a simple gold coin, silver coin, or even metallic coin, is symbol of Lakshmi, that Adhyaropa is there. Or on Dashera, they do Shastra Puja. Any simple weapon is enough to do Shastra Puja. Those nowadays, weapons are all digital, when pressing something and doing, no physical much is involved. Tanks and aeroplanes and these robots and all kinds of things are there. But still they do sword puja. When you worship the sword, it symbolizes the whole thing. So, there is a deliberate loading of avasthas. Shastra does this. There is a deliberate loading of 3 shariras on Omkara. Just as we have certain forms that on which you load the Ishvara or whatever. So Omkara is symbol of Ishvara. Om. When you say Om, Sarva Rupa Paramatma. The Ishvara that is all forms. When Arjuna says, Bhagavan, I don't know who are you and where are you? What are your glories? Even Bhagavan himself says, Nantosti mama divyanam vibhutinam parantam. Arjuna, my divine glories are endless. Or we say 11th chapter, Vishwarupa Darshan. All-inclusive expression form. That all-inclusive should include mosquitoes and COVID-19 bacteria onwards to Brahmaji, everything. But the all-inclusive word is what? Om. When you say Om, that's a Vishwarupa Ishvara. When you say Om, that's a Hiranyagarbharupa Ishvara. Whatever form you want to see. So, Om is done. Now, this Omkara is also used as a upasana for particularly sannyasis. Okay. Whenever we chant a mantra, there is a Omkara in the beginning, like Om Namah Shivaya. Om, you start. Why? When you say Namah Shivaya, that means my salutations, my pranam to Shiva. When Shiva, Lord Shiva is a particular form. When I say Shiva, this Trinetra, Trishuladhari, Jatajutadhari, etc. form will come. But that appears to be limited form. It's limited. 2 hands, 2 legs, etc. Doing meditation in Kailasa, space-wise limited, action-wise limited, so many limitations. But to indicate that limitless is appearing as limited to help us, mind cannot function in a formless. Mind needs the support of a form to understand, to hold on, to connect. That's the limitations of the mind. Therefore, Shiva is there, but by nature, what is Shiva? Om. Means limitless, all-pervasive. Any which way, unconditioned, space-wise, time-wise, objectivity-wise, in no way it is limited. Desha, Kala, Vastu Paricheda Shunyam. Shunyam means free, Paricheda means limitations. What kind of limitations? Desha Kala Vastu. Limitations of place, limitations of time, and limitations of objectivity. Means totally limitless. So the limitlessness of Ishvara is revealed by Om. And that, listen now, one more sentence. That which is limitless in any which way, Deshakal Vastu Paricheda Shunyam, anything that is limitless or anything that is free from any kind of conditioning has to be formless. If it has a form, then it is limited. It is formless. So Omkara reveals formless Ishvara as well as Omkara reveals Jagat Karanam Brahma Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karanam, that is Ishvara. So both are revealed by Omkara. And that is, since it reveals limitlessness of Ishvara, we always start with Om. If you remember, Swamiji is chanting, even he will say Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, he will say Om, Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Om, Om, Om. So Om is, you will find, always associated with every mantra and centered in the beginning. Like when it's even a Shanti mantra, what do we say? Om Sahana Vavatu, Sahano Bhunak, Om Bhadram Karane Vishruniyam Deva, etc., etc. So that very Omkara reveals what? Idam Sarvam Brahman. What Brahman? That is Omkara. And Shruti does Adhyaropa, Ayam Atma Brahma, Ayam Atma Chatushpat, etc. And Turiyapad, etc. Mandukya Upanishad discussion. And that we'll see if we study there. So it is Omkara. Now, that Omkara is chanted as Upasna also. Om Japa. Om, 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 like that. Or in association with given mantra. Om Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, etc. Om Rim Klim Chim Chamundai, which there is also Om. So now, as I said earlier, we have said, to gain the knowledge of anything, you require a mind that is ready for that knowledge. You require mental preparedness. And mental preparedness is in terms of Shuddhi, in terms of Ekagrata, single-pointedness and purity of the mind. And that is gained through upasanas, various mantra japa, puja, yatra, tapas, etc. So, Shastra has given to us this. One can do upasana with Omkara. How about in Omkara, there is Ishvara Buddhi. When you chant Om, Om, Om with this awareness, like when you chant Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, then there is a Krishna in the mind. When you say Om Namah Shivaya, there is a Shiva comes to your mind. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. There is a Rama coming to me. So simple Om, that Ishvara, formless Ishvara, limitless Ishvara, Utpatti Sthiti Laya Karta Ishvara, that Ishvara which is the being of everything. If that buddhi is there, if that understanding is there, and if one chants Omkara with that bhava, then it gives Antashuddhi. By the way, any mantra japa or even any puja, or even any bhakti, bhajanam, or even yatra, all that can give you antashuddhi if it is there with Ishvara Bhava. You may chant Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai, Om Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Ram. He has lost some money in business. So, that the tongue is telling, but bhava is business. Or some dvesha vastu, some pain, some Ramakrishnan, or somebody is there in the mind. It gets into the mind, and then he or she is thinking of that person. That doesn't give shuddhi. So true, we say mantra japa or bhakti or upasana gives antashuddhi, but provided it is done with Ishvara Bhava. Otherwise, I have seen people in India, they keep chanting mantras, and they have some particular bag which will hide their mala. They don't like the people should see the mala. And this particular index finger, they say it should not touch the rosary. So they do with these two fingers, This third one and with a thumb, they do. Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. And this finger there is a hole in that bag. It comes out. And they always keep doing like this. Shri Krishna. You don't see that. Ram Jaram 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 Jaram. Or they keep some shawl or cloth like this and keep doing mala. But while doing mala, they are talking. You had been to that marriage? Yes, I had been to marriage. How was the function? It was good. Had that lady came? Was she invited? Yeah, she was invited. Really? She came. They don't have relation. How did they come? I don't know. Oh, really? What was she wearing? These fingers are going on. It is not mantra japa. It is called paralysis. This is called mental paralysis. That doesn't give antashuddhi. Japa can give antashuddhi if there is Ishvara Bhava. Similarly, Omkara chanting, done with this understanding, that done with Omkara Upasana, with Ishvara Bhava, if it is done, then it gives antashuddhi, purity of mind. And Omkara is, they say, amatra Omkara. If you look upon Omkara as a formless Brahman, then it leads to the knowledge. So it is pratika for Saguna Upasana and pratika to understand the Ishvara also. Okay? So that is why it says Dhanur Gruhitva Upanishadam Mahastra. Because why the Omkara is Dhanush? Because next mantra is revealing about Omkara. Look at the next mantra. Pranavo Dhanuhu. Pranavaha means Omkara is Dhanush. That is bow. So Omkara is a bow and mind is arrow. So with this, deliberately loading Omkara as a symbol of Ishvara, loading Omkara with Auma, all these three avasthas, or the sound, and Amatra Omkara is, when you load it with that, it gives you antashuddhi. Okay? And Omkara Upasana is very much valued in the tradition. And generally, sannyasis do it, Omkara Upasana. Okay? So, Ekaksharam Brahma in Kathopanishad also is there. Ekaksharam, single letter. Ekaksharam means non-dual, imperishable also. There are two meanings of the word Ekaksharam. Ekaksharam means one single letter word, that is Om, that is Brahman. Ekaksharam Brahma. Or Ekaksharam means, Ekam means Advitiyam. Aksharam means imperishable Brahman. Advitiyam Satyam Brahman. Advitiyam Anantam Brahman. So that is also there. Okay. Now see the next mantra, then you will be able to connect with this, what I said. Look at the mantra number 4. Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma. Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma. Brahma tan lakshamuchyate. Brahma tan lakshamuchyate. Apramattena vedhavyam. Apramattena vedhavyam. Sharavattanmayo bhavet. Sharavattanmayo bhavet. Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma. Brahma tan lakshamuchyate. Pranavo dhanusharo hyatma. Brahma tan lakshamuchyate. Apramattena vedhavyam. Sharavattanmayo bhavet. Apramattena vedhavyam. Sharavattanmayo bhavet. Earlier mantra he says, take a big bow. What is the bow? Pranavaha dhanuhu. Omkara is bow. And upasa nishitam sharaha. That arrow is sharpened arrow. What is the arrow? Pranavo dhanuhu sharaha atma. Okay. What is the sharaha? Atma. The self is the bow. Apramatte. What is the lakshyam? What is to be targeted? What is to be hit? That is Brahman. So Atma should hit the Brahman. In other words, when you hit the arrow, it gets pierced into the target. That means arrow and the target becomes one. So self is an arrow, Brahman is a target, they should become one. Pranavo dhanuhu sharaha atma Brahma tat lakshyam uchyate. And then how should I, how should I hit it? How should I pierce it? How should I release it? He says, apramattena vedhavyam. Acha, apramattena. Without any kind of slothfulness, laziness, indifference. Without any indifference or slothfulness or laziness means with alertness. What? Vedhavyam has to be pierced. Sharavat, like an arrow, tanmayah bhavet. One should become one with Brahman. Like an arrow becomes one with the target, so also this arrow of self should become one with the target called Brahman. Understand? That means, may you discover yourself to be Brahman, and may you own up that Brahman, that is you. You owning up the Brahman means, may your knowledge that I am Brahman be free from any doubts and errors. When I say Aham Brahmasmi, there is no doubt and error. Means 24/7. I am aware of my identity. With eyes closed or without closed eyes. With eyes closed and or open. With the world or without the world. With the people or without the people. I am aware about who am I. That is called Sharavat Tanmayaha Bhavet. So means you own up your nature, your Swarupa as Brahman by doing Nididhyasana. That is what it is said in the previous mantra. Ayamya tad bhavagatena chetasa laksham tadevaksharam brahma tadviddhi. May you hit that laksham called Brahman by becoming Tadbhavagatena cetasa. Constant practice of meditation, constant practice of nididhyasana, proper word is, of owning up yourself, seeing through and through the meanings of the words of the Shastras. And when I see through it, I learn to own it up, what I am, and disown what I am not. Atat buddhi, the jivatvam is atat buddhi. I am not the jiva. And when you own up, that is what stotra is. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani nah. I am disowning what I am not and owning up what I am. Chidananda rupaha shivoham shiva. I am that consciousness, that which is of the nature of limitlessness, auspiciousness. That is called tallaksha, tanmayo bhavet. And that is tadbhavagatena cetasa. In other words, you can say through Shravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, and ancillary this sadhanas, that doing necessary seva to Gurujans, good teachers, having had a mind which is pure and clear and focused, you learn to own up yourself as Brahman. That is called piercing the goal. Okay? Apramattena vedhavyam. So, in other words, with dispassionate mind, that is the mind that is free from any belongings, the mind that is not under the hold of likes and dislikes, the mind that is not held by what? Held by unconscious. Unconscious never overpowers me. And that mind is then ultimately totally absorbed in it without any distractions. Distractions caused by physio-psycho complex. There are twofold of distractions. One, distractions caused by physio-psycho complex, that's a primary. And secondary distraction is vishaya, objects. My raga dveshas for that. And my identification with physio-psycho complex. So you have two-stage approach. We release the mind from first level of distraction in terms of raga dveshas, of the mind, attachments of the mind. And then when relatively free mind, free from holds of likes and dislikes, we remove these distractions in terms of mano, buddhi, hankara, chitta, etc., physio-psycho complex. There is I sense that we keep negating and ultimately own it up effortlessly. How? Like an actor. You negate the Atma Buddhi, doesn't mean no. And own up yourself. That means I always say, who are you? I am Brahman. Where do you come from? I come from nowhere and go nowhere because I am all pervasive. Suppose when we enter America or Canada, this immigration fellow asks, where do you come from? And I say, if I answer, I am that limitless Brahman who cannot come and go. I am everywhere. I am here. Then he would say, okay, go back in the next flight. Don't come into America. That physical body has to come and go. You are not talking of that. Immigration fellow is asking about this body, not Brahman. That is your awareness. And what kind of that awareness? Like a seasoned actor, like a versatile actor, successful actor. He or she can play many roles, but never loses his or her identity. There are as though two identities. One identity of the role, which he or she keeps on talking and behaving as a king. Suppose he happens to be king. Aham, one day this fellow was playing the role of a king all the time. And the kings always address themselves in a plural. They will say not I, we. We think, we have to do, because they are identified with the subjects and the kingdom. In Hindi, there's a hum. And for coming is Aage. He entered the home. He finished this role and drama and came home and like a king, nobody was there to receive. So they gave indication. So that was the script in the drama. So servants will come, yes, Maharaj, and bow down and all that. And then, so he came home and did like a horse, but nobody came. Second time, nobody came. Third time, nobody came. Then finally he said, Hum aa gaye, we have come. She was making roti with that belan, and she came with that sick. What? She sounded, voice looks like of that same fellow. But this tone and the word is Hum aa gaye in an assertive voice. How come he dared to do this? She said, what? And having seen her, he said, no. I was asking you, have I forgotten to bring vegetables or something from the market? Sudden change. That is called steadfastness in the Swarup. Abidance in the Swarupa. That fellow may be playing a role of a king, but he will never miss his Vyavharik identity. Understand? That is Tanmaya. Saravat Tanmayo Bhava. Become one with that. So Vyavhara continues, role playing continues, and he or she may express as a role player, but there is a constant awareness about the Swarupa of myself. That is what Tanmayo Bhavet. We shall see these words one by one in the next class. Okay? Omkar Upasana tomorrow. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.